Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shambhala Sunday Gatherings. My name is Candy Aludi, and I'm a member of the Sunday Shambhala Gatherings team. And it's my pleasure to be your host for this week's gathering. This Sunday's program takes the form of a conversation between Jean-Luc Monfrais and Laurence Corman, where they will discuss the various aspects of the Montreal Shambhala Center's 50th anniversary, which was celebrated on November 12th. So we will have a conversation, and then after that, there will be a time for question and answers. So you can be thinking of questions you might have that you can ask after the conversation. And your questions will be recorded, and the final recording will be archived on our online video. There will be an optional discussion group at the end of the gathering for 30 minutes for those who wish to stay a little longer and have more discussion, and this will not be recorded. So at this time, it is my great pleasure to introduce Laurence and Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc is currently the director of the Shambhala Center in Montreal. He took refuge in 1980 with the 16th Karmapa at Rumtek Sikkim. He came to Canada in 2004 to take up a position as a hospital anesthesiologist. He joined a local Kaju group, but when his Lama left to open a center in Mexico City, after several enriching encounters in 2015, he joined the Montreal Shambhala Center. He followed the entire curriculum throughout Warrior Assembly at Dechinchuling in 2018 and became the director of the Montreal Center on Losar of this year. Laurence Corman has been a Shambhala member for over 15 years. She has been on the Montreal Council for over 5 years, in charge of societal health and well-being. With several years' experience volunteering in palliative care, she is now changing her focus into helping support the Dharma in prisons in and around Montreal. A meditation guide and co-instigator of the Heart of Recovery program at the Montreal Center, Laurence is also an instructor in instruction training and will be beginning her Vajrayana studies and practice in the fall. So, please.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this
Hello.
Sunday gathering. We're very happy to be here and very happy to welcome you in this celebration that is very dear to our hearts. Before we start, we thought we'd maybe do a little 5-minute shamatha meditation, if that's okay with you. So settle comfortably. I have a gong here and I'll be able to time it. And let's just settle a little bit before we start. And we will begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this discussion about the Montreal Shambhala Centre's 50th anniversary. I think, Jean-Luc, you'll agree that Montreal Shambhala Centre is the oldest Shambhala Centre internationally?
No, I don't think so. The oldest, perhaps in North America.
In North America. There you go.
Because before there was a meeting.
Aha. Okay.
Now,
Very
I see Giselle disagree.
Oh, she disagrees. Okay.
Montreal,
I might be right.
Montreal is the oldest city center in the world.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Giselle.
Giselle is my
There's
MI.
nobody here to disagree with you.
Giselle is my MI, so I won't disagree with Giselle.
Exactly.
It's a life-saving way of life.
So in fact,
yes, in fact, Shogam Tumpa and his wife came in 1970, waiting for a visa to go to what will be Kermicholing.
mm-hmm.
And they stay here for a week, I think, or 5 weeks. And they gave teachings to some students, and those students made a kind of group. And then when Shogam Trooper left, they went on asking for teaching and so on. And 3 years later, it began to be Montreal Dharmadhatu Center.
And then it was named the Shambhala Montreal Center around the year 2000, right?
Yeah.
So we're celebrating 50 years this year. And we had a big celebration on November 12th.
Yeah. All day long.
All day long. And I wanted to ask you, Jean-Luc, what is this anniversary, 50-year anniversary, represent for you and our members of our Shanga in Montreal?
For me, what it represents for the center, what it represents for me, because for the others, everyone has their own story. But for me, it's a kind of hair. We have the hair of teachings and practicing, coming from far away in the time, and then we can see during 50 years what was the high, what was the low part of the story, and how Montreal is still there through all the bad weather, good weather of the life, and Montreal has another specification. It's to be bilingual, and it's an advantage and a big problem.
Yeah, some of you might not know Montreal, even though it's in Quebec. Quebec is recognized as being a francophone province. The official language is French, but Montreal, in and of itself, is a really multicultural hub. So there are francophones, there are a lot of anglophones, and a lot of different generational cultures. So yeah, in our center, we have both francophones and anglophones who frequent.
It's a melting pot, Montreal. That's why I am there. That's why I came in Canada.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the situation of having both cultures in one center?
Yeah. In fact, it's well known that the language structures the thoughts, and the thoughts structures the culture. So it's not just translating the words from one language to the other. It's how you connect two different cultures. And when you translate, one word have a different meanings in one language, and when you translate, you have to choose one of the meanings. So you translate the box of the word, but not what is inside the box. And so the through those words translated, the way of thinking of the student may not be the same. And it's not so. It's a real problem, not only for Buddhism teaching. It's a problem for all translation of any kind, even a scientific one. And but at the same time, each culture has this richness, and we can put seed from one culture in another one, but we have to talk to each other. We have to practice together, and we have to celebrate together. That's what we did.
And I think that you've said, I've heard you say that it's because we've had to adapt to one another that maybe that's been given us a leg up to be able to go through these tumultuous times without having a big divide and fractioning off like some of the other centers did. Are you of that impression?
In fact, we have to be open to people speaking differently, having another culture, but not following each other. You don't have to lose your mind or your culture. You have just to commit to be yourself and to communicate with other people, staying themselves. But we can do things together without wanting to be the other. Mm-hmm. And it's true for people, but it's true for lineage too, or for groups.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get more into that a little bit later. Let's talk more about the celebration itself. How did I unfortunately wasn't able to be there that day. So what exactly did you guys do? How did you choose to celebrate and mark this momentous occasion?
So we choose to celebrate on the three levels of what is a lineage. The model is the 3 jours, in fact. So we wanted to have practicing deep Buddhism practices, and we wanted to celebrate also the people of the Sangha. What is the Sangha, coming from, going where, and so on, and also celebrate in real life and have put beautiful clothes and have good food and good wine, and so that's what we did. In the morning we have Giselle there, so we had Giselle who directed the White Tara sadhana. I think White Tara is a very deep core of my practice and our practice in Montreal, and that's why White Tara is there. And I think White Tara represents the opening, the compassion, and the energy between people, and it's very good it's a very good practice for rassembling the Sangha, and opening to other people and to other groups, to other culture, and Giselle was a direct student of Shogam Trungpa Rinpoche, and one of the first members of the center, and so she made a connection between those first teachings and those first practicing with Shogam Trungpa and what we are now, and it gives us a deep understanding of our roots and how through those roots we can look at the future.
Yeah, we're very lucky in Montreal. We have several members who are direct students of Shogam Trungpa Rinpoche.
We have 2 of them, Giselle and Marjolaine.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And how did you progress then in the afternoon? I understand you did some important research.
In the afternoon, we had a gathering of the Sangha, and I asked André Lapierre, who is one of ancient teachers, too, student of the Sakyong, and I asked her to reconstitute, je sais pas si c'est ça en anglais, the story of Montreal Center, and not only the story like a timeline, but the story through the people and through the events and the little stories of the story. So we had I will show you a video after we'll see everything. A lot of people shared their experience, how they come, and how what was their feeling, how they integrate or not, and it was very, very interesting. So some people were there for decades.
Yeah, what was the thing that you found the most interesting during that whole exchange?
The global impact, because every sharing was touching in the heart, and I cannot say this one was better than this one. And what I could say to answer your question is, it was the atmosphere. What I kept of that 2 hours or 3 hours, and what I kept is this soft energy, warm energy, and all those people discovering each other. A lot of people know each other for a long time, but then they discovered who they were, in fact, when they speak of the beginning. How did I came, and how did I come? What make me come here, and so on, and sharing the deep of them, including the bad things, in fact. What they suffer of, because the two last crises were not the first, the first one of Shambhala. No. Like every human group, in fact, I have been in a lot of human group, and all the stories are the same always.
Impermanence, right, Jean-Luc?
That's
change all the time.
Yeah, that's impermanence. That's ignorance. And not see what the other, and respect. In fact, because we spoke of that about multilingualism, and it's respect. We have to respect each other in our difference. What links together the people? It's a difference. It's not because we are the same.
Yeah, and we even had some members who we hadn't seen for years come back for the celebration. It was I when I heard of that, I was so touched personally. It must have been so wonderful to see them again.
Wow. People we didn't see for 20 or 30 years. I wasn't there.
That's great. And how did you, I'm sure you ended with a huge celebration as in true Shambhala form. I don't know if you want to show us some pictures or some videos that you have.
As I said, we are Shambhala, so we stay Shambhala. And the trademark of Shambhala is celebration.
Yes. So you want to show us some videos?
Yeah.
So there's no audio on these videos, but we'll be able to comment as we go along. I hope you can all see these.
You okay?
Yeah.
So that when André in the middle beside me, and she's speaking about the story of Shambhala Montreal. We are in the main room. And
We see a lot of elders there too that are,
yeah,
talking about their
Carol, the
experience.
previous one of the
Carol was
previous
there, yeah.
director.
Yeah.
And so after we change
Yeah, put everything back.
to the meditation.
So this is our Montreal Center on Saint-Joseph Street.
That's the evening celebration. We are
We did a big
preparing the
potluck.
supper, a big
Yeah.
potluck, upgraded potluck.
There's Didier. And there he is. Jean-Luc, Geneviève.
Sangha,
Yeah, Sangha.
calligraphy Sangha, which is on the wall of the community room.
Always good food, great people, and dancing.
Absolutely. Too much of energy, we have to throw it in the dance.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
now we had an open door.
Open house,
It was in April. No, it was in sorry.
September or October?
September. It was in September. Open door for the Québec Journée de la Culture.
Yeah, Day of Culture.
Day of Culture for Quebec. And we presented exposition and events around contemplative art.
You want to play the video? There we go.
So, welcome.
Yeah, it was an open house for a community at large in Montreal. And I think there's some Mixang pictures of our Mixang group.
Pictures there.
Beautiful exposition.
Here I'm talking about contemplative art.
Mm-hmm. And we had quite a few people come through, right, John?
Yeah, 50, something like that. And Jim presented Gagaku, ritual dance.
Jim Wagner, who also performed at Karma Choling during the warrior retreat. Wonderful. A great way to introduce the community who may not know anything about Buddhism or Asian culture, to just come and get a taste for what it's all about, whether it be through dance, through pictures. There was Ikebana as well.
Yes, because this event was open to public. It was public,
Yes.
not only members, not only Buddhist people, but now Massimo is presenting Shambhala art. Massimo is one of the previous co-director with Susie Amgan.
He's now in charge of
Practice and
education. Yeah.
Here is a video of Shogam Trungpa called Discovering Elegance. That and
a good group of people.
Ikebana with Alain Carrière.
Yeah. Lovely.
It's a talk.
Lovely arrangements.
Yeah. Here is Daniel Larue and me. We are in charge of a Mixang group.
So a lot of these satellite groups that are attached to the center.
Yeah.
That bring a lot of different aspects into the Sangha.
And every first month, Sunday of the month, we have a kind of live stream, on the model of TV broadcast, and each time I have a guest, about the center. It's called Explore ton centre, Explore your center.
Yeah.
And the first one was Giselle again.
So these were talks with elders or people who've had a long experience at the center and how they came to be introduced to Buddhism and their experience. In this case, Giselle with Chongyang Trungpa himself. Here's Susie Algman, who was also a co-director before
during
Jean-Luc
the pandemic. She
during
was
the pandemic.
with Massimo.
Her experience, she's now in charge of education and programs. It was very, very enriching.
And Francesca
Dahlia, who's one of our experienced teachers as well, speaking about her experience. Wonderful. Thank you, Jean-Luc. I guess this bodes the fact that we've been together for 50 years, and especially we were still together after these last couple of tumultuous years, one with the problems with the Sakyong and then COVID. How do you see, how is it that we have stayed connected throughout these past few difficult years?
No. As I said before, the thing is when there is problems, when there is a conflict, we have to stay connected, not to try to solve what is different between us, but we have to connect through what we have in common. And from that core, we can put knots on the strings and to attach the string, and then after we can rebuild or build something else together.
And did you do specific practices to be able to do
that? That began long before me. That began with Carol Howard, who put in place talk circles. And beginning with social meditation and talk circles, two different things, but connecting together. And after Susie and Massimo went on with those circles during the pandemics, it was in the beginning in Zoom, and after in the center. And
you were quite lucky before COVID, because you quite rightly discovered that we were missing on the technical aspect some equipment right before COVID. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, in fact, at that time, I was in charge of the technical aspect, technical level of the life of the center, as I am a kind of geek since I am a little boy, because I studied electronics when I was 12. And so in the summer 2019, I said to the council, we don't have any communication system, we don't have video system. The future is to the broadcast, and the future is to live stream, and we have to be ready for that. And I can install it if you want. And they said yes.
Wow. So, and lo and behold, a couple of months later, everything shut down, and it was really
everything was ready end of December, beginning of January. And in February, poof, on the Monday we closed. On the Tuesday, we had the first Zoom.
Wow. And it's interesting too how the Zoom, although we were separated via screens, it also opened us up to other centers and other people who otherwise would not have been coming to our center from across oceans, across countries. Do you want to speak to that as well?
That's a big debate. I love Zoom, of course, but it's two kinds of energy.
Yeah.
But not one is good and one is bad. It's not dualistic like that. Dualistic. It's just two aspects of communicating. And in Zoom, we are all in these strange rabbit boxes on the screen, and we all look in the same direction. So the energy is linear.
Mm-hmm.
Linear. And so it's good to speak. It's good for teachings. It's good for having exchanges in a group. And so it saved a lot of centers, including Montreal, during the pandemic. But there are the circles. In the circles, the energy is not linear. The energy is circular.
Right.
It's a circle, and it's turned like that. And it doesn't turn on a plan. It turns on a plan with the time in 3D. It's a spiral.
A spiral.
And we need that to connect, to gather the Sangha. And so some gathering we have it on Zoom, some on online, and in the middle we can do hybrid, but it's not the two conjugate, the two mixed.
Yeah.
It's another thing.
It's another thing. I had the opportunity to partake in a couple of circles before COVID, after the problems with the Sakyong, and I was really amazed at how, because you had the Vajrayana students who were experiencing this difficulty on a much different level than other students who are not Vajrayana, and how we could all in one room just respect and listen and create this space, this safe space for people to be able to express what they were going through without offering a solution. But just respecting and doing active listening, and that in itself, I found went a really long way in bringing us together. Was that your experience as well?
Yes, and but what the most important is how we gather the energy, the energy of the teaching, the energy of the lineage. And as I said, we have to go to the core, not to the form, to the energy itself. And as I told you before, the image I love for that is the image of the tree. Because you can look at that on three levels. And the form, the tree has the roots and different roots, and the gathering in the trunk, and the trunk is where we are today, and then the trunk can give some branches, and but even if the branches are different, they are fixed to the same trunk. And the tree is something global, even if it has some branches. But we can look at that at another level. It's the level of the dynamic. And for that, we have to look at how a tree lives. There is roots, and the roots in the soil absorb the water and mineral elements necessary for life. And all these substances diluted in the water, and it makes some thrust, so some pressure, and it push up to the top of the tree through the trunk in little channels, and go to the leaves.
Yeah.
Through the trunk. And in the leaves are on the sun, in the sun, Great Eastern Sun or real sun is the same. And there is what we call photosynthesis, and the sun rays change the mineral sap into a biological sap with organic molecules and so on. And the sap goes back to the roots to give nutriments to all the nutrients to all the tree, and back and forth. And I like the blood in our body, but it's not the same. Don't compare. So for the lineage, or for how we communicate, it's an analogy because we draw elementary teachings from the ground of the lineage, and we put through the trunk where we are, and in the sun say what are the energy we are living in, and we adapt, and the tree adapt. If there is more sun in one side, the leaves will grow there, and if there is not enough water, they will take more roots, and if there's too much wind, the trunk will be like that, and so on and so on. And sometimes two trunks, and so on. And but it comes from the same seed, so it's the same tree.
And there's a third level as well that you talk about.
Yes, and then on the third degree, it came from this seed, and the different trees coming from the same seed, it comes from the sap. In fact, the first thing growing is the sap. We think, the seed gives a tree, but no, nobody is building a tree. It builds by the inside, by itself. The first thing coming out of the seed is the sap, and the sap pushes, and around this energy, the little channels are building. Moment. The first movement is not making the channels. The first movement is pushing the sap, and the sap.
Wow.
So we can say energy creates matter. Moment, but without stopping. And because everything is impermanent, so even in the nature, so. Moment by moment, in our body is the same. The nature destruct the cells, destruct everything, and rebuild, destroy, rebuild, not rebuild, build something new. And so the living being, human or tree, or lineage, can stay alive and adapt without losing the core. The core is the energy of the lineage, the energy of who I am as a human being. The core is what kind of tree it is.
Wow, that's a wonderful analogy. Thank you for that, Jean-Luc.
And
Did you want to add? I'm sorry. Did you want to add
No,
something to that
no,
analogy?
I could
No?
speak hours.
No. We don't have
You have to stop me, not to push me.
Okay, well, perhaps one last question then. How do you see the future of Montreal's center?
The future of the Montreal Center, I could say I see it well. What I say? I think Montreal is a special center, very special center, because we are at the crossroads of many things. We are at the crossroads of European culture and American culture. Speaking of whole American culture, and we have the crossroad of multilingual, because we are speaking English and French, but there are a lot of Spanish-speaking people here. We have a lot of Arabic-speaking people too, and all those people are able to speak together in a center like us, like ours. Because we are gathering our central core, and that's what we have to preserve. We have to preserve the central core and not fight about the form.
I was going to ask you if you had any advice for other centers out there who are struggling, but I think you might have just said it. That might have been our thought of the day, right? Preserve the core and not struggle about the
form,
the branches, where the branches are going, right?
Yeah, well, you have to focus on what you want, and not to focus on what you don't want.
Yes. Thank you for that, Jean-Luc. Thank you so much for that analogy. I thought that was beautiful. I think it really rings true with me, and hopefully with others that are listening to us today. We're done with our presentation. If anybody has any questions, I know Janet, at one point you had your hand up. We're ready and willing to answer any questions you might have or commentaries that you might want to say.
Yeah, this is wonderful. And the word resilience comes to my mind, which I guess goes to the tree, right, Jean-Luc?
Mm-hmm.
That, but what I wondered, this is practical, because we've heard a lot about how wonderful Montreal is, especially with the talking circles and how helpful that's been. And it sounds to me from what you're saying that you've had talking circles for a long time. So what a lot of us did is when the crisis hit, then we felt we needed a talking circle. It was very difficult and painful. And people weren't clear what it was that we were doing. And I wonder, it seems like the advantage that you had is you already had that in your culture. So it's not as though you were quickly putting a Band-Aid on a bleeding wound, right?
Yeah, and these talking circles are, I haven't gotten any formal training, but I do direct sessions of Heart of Recovery, and we do them as well there. And it is structured in the format is quite structured. And even me in the beginning, I had a lot of trouble because you want to comfort, you want to, if there's an uncomfortable energy in the air or someone's suffering, you want to compensate, and it's a real practice on how to just sit and just hold the space. And it took me a lot of time to be able to understand, but at the same time, I witnessed the healing aspect of just being heard, actively heard. It was wonderful. Go ahead, Giselle. Did you want to add something?
Okay, about the talking circle. It's very powerful. And in order to participate into that, we need to develop inner space and trust in oneself. And then we have enough space to receive the other without feeling pushed or challenged, or it's like space opens up and you are there and you have enough space to appreciate different point of view without feeling attacked. And very often when people have different points of view, they feel attacked and then they start on defending and there's no more understanding of each other. So talking circle, I think it's a very advanced Buddhist practice. In meditation, what we do is we develop space to not be only one way, but to be all the ways we are, and also develop friendship to that. So that's why it's called also social meditation. In a way, we do with other people what happens on the cushion. And if people don't have that inner acceptance of who they are and different aspects of who they are, if they fight a lot in themselves, then they're not able to. Or that's very. They listen to other people and they fall off their horse. When people have the opposite point of view. If you have enough inner space, you can appreciate to hear the other person and even to understand where they come from. The wisdom in their point of view, even if it's different. And that, I think that's the biggest power we have developed. And for me, it's a manifestation of the teachings. And I don't say that we remember that all the time, but it's it's like meditation practice, I find. It's so some people, I will say, don't understand that at all. And they're intelligent, but they don't. You need some maturity, emotional maturity at the same time. Not only intellectual understanding of the Dharma, but a lot of embodiment somehow, like a pacifying experience coming from the practice of Dharma. So that's it.
We had some training sessions as well with Nick Krantz, I think it was, because hosting these is very challenging as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we did that right before COVID. Actually, no, it was even before the problems with the Sakyan with Carol, I think. Right, Jean-Luc? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very, very, very powerful. Did anybody else have any comments or questions?
I just want to add, it comes from First Nations,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The Ogala Sioux, they practice that. And when somebody does a crime or whatever, they practice that healing or talking circle with the stick,
Mm-hmm.
For us, we don't use the stick, but we bow. And the thing is, when with this technique, you can be silent. And that means, let's say you talk and you dissolve, and then you feel space and see what arises. No, another person doesn't start to talk at that moment. Silence has a place, which is really open space, and then something else comes. And people say sometimes, I've never said this to anyone. They're surprised, the welcoming situation that is created.
So there's not, because social meditation doesn't have a theme, it's just open space, right? So when you do your talking circles, is there a question people are answering, or is it just open?
No, it's open. It's open. Usually we have a theme. But if you want to address a problem, we can say we will make a talking circle, but then you can say what you want, even from something else. But there is a theme. and it's very, very open and very, very powerful. And even for the governance council, we have a reflection circle, which is a kind of laboratory for ideas. And people are talking of whatever in the center, about the center, and sometimes we can pick some good ideas for the council to do something, or the people are talking of things we didn't notice, and so you can address the problem earlier than when it's too late.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Well, we are at the top of the hour, so it might be a good time to close our formal Sunday gathering. I'd like to thank both of you for talking about our long center, Montreal, but also now this edition of the Talking Circles, which I recall from many, many years ago at Carmicholing, us holding Talking Circles. And so I would like to invite people to stay. I want to close and thank everyone for coming and thank Shambhala Online. Yes.
I would like to thank you, Shambhala Online, to thank Shambhala Online for the kind invitation. And it was an honor to be there, in fact. But I would like to thank also all the Montreal Shambhala Center for the support I have from this center, and to thank Giselle and Laurence. Thank you, Laurence, for guiding me in this adventure for today.
You're welcome.
All a challenge for me, and speaking in English during 1 hour.
You did great. You did great. Maybe we could end with a back. Oh.
My dog agrees, so there you go.
I'll go on mute and we can end with a
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.